Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me. My name is Justin Serrano, and it's a pleasure. Today's presentation is brought to you by JSS Consulting and Development. This presentation is the Inverse Pyramid, how Myers-Briggs Type Indicator reorders Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So throughout this presentation, we're going to have moments where you can stop and really reflect on the content. So here we go. Food for thought. What if the path to self-actualization, that is Maslow's peak hierarchy of need, isn't reached by everybody in the same way? What if, in fact, your personality type dictates how you find fulfillment and when and in what order your fundamental needs are achieved? This presentation is going to challenge the framework of Maslow's universality. In fact, we're going to say your personality type is going to create a personalized path to finding fulfillment and self-actualization. So here we have the Maslow myth. Why this pyramid isn't linear. So let's look at Abraham Maslow's 1943 hierarchy revolutionary understanding of human motivation. As you see the image here, we have the 5 tiers: physiological need, safety need, love and belonging need, esteem need, and self-actualization. So Maslow says that you need to achieve each tier before pursuing the following tier, stacking up in a linear path. This is also to be said to be a one-size-fits-all or a universal concept of how these needs are achieved. Here we have Myers-Briggs Type Indicator coming in to refine our understanding of, human motivation, or at least how we can find fulfillment in our lives or self-actualization. So the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator really is our preference for how we perceive information and make judgments. It's not only our skills and abilities, but really it's our way of interacting with the world. So in Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, we'll see that there is some dimensions that really challenge the sequential order of Maslow's pyramid. But before we get into the first ones, we'll look at this interaction moment. Let's imagine that you're broke and you have this revolutionary idea. What are you going to do? What are you going to prioritize? Are you going to go out and find a job so you can cover your rent and your bills? Or are you just going to stay broke, quit your job, and pursue your life's passion? So whatever you have answered that to, it's really going to be an indicator on your personality type and creating your personalized path to fulfillment. Everybody's going to take a different approach to the pyramid. So here we have sensing and intuition. Essentially, you're going to see how taking a path of sensing and taking a path of intuition or intuitiveness will take you on different sides of the pyramid. Sensing actually fits more alongside Maslow. It says that roughly 70% of the population adhere to Maslow's traditional sequence, and this is going to be here in these order of making sure that you hit your physiological safeties, hit your safeties, financials, and all that stuff, and then create your relationships. Pretty much, it says this is the conventional life script. You finish school, you get a job, you get married, you have family, you retire, you really have your purpose now. On the other side of the thing, and this is where it gets, dicey, is that the intuitive path is the one that throws everything out the window. Not so much everything, but it really takes on a different sense of our personal path. So they're looking at explicit interest in self-actualization early in their childhood, often in their teens and 20s. So we have an inverted motivational sequence where tier 1 and tier 2 are thrown out the window, and then they're looking for their self-actualization more early in their life. And they can disregard the other two needs by Maslow. So it says here, why would I waste my 20s in a cubicle when I could be discovering who I'm meant to be? So looking at this, we have here the existential struggle. Somebody that is in the intuitive path will look at the world and disregard their psychological safety, and which is, their physical comfort and safety, their food, water, and stuff like that. They might miss a meal, or their financial security. They might not be working to really, you know, hold a savings or looking to have that kind of security. Instead, this is the type of people or person that you can think of as like the struggling artist who might skip a meal just to fulfill their passion, or maybe that model or somebody else that really leaves a small town to go to these big metropolitans and struggle just to like find themselves. So these are those type, and this is a different path to find fulfillment. They really disregard the initial needs. So here we have why one size doesn't fit all. We have now in Maslow's middle pyramid, love and belonging and esteem. We can see the difference between a thinker and a feeler or feelings type. So the thinker is going to be motivated or find more fulfillment or feeling in recognized by their achievements, their expertise, merit-based validation through their capabilities. Where where a feeling type is going to be recognized or feel something more by being recognized for being authentic, having the integrity, um, being the person that really contributes to the well-being of others. You can say that the thinker is more like a software engineer that built a code that's really secure and is successful, and that and they'll be really happy about it. And then you have the feeler, who is, for example, a social worker who is recognized for is acknowledged for her compassion for a client who they changed their life. That's where the fulfillment comes. Now we move on to belonging and the breadth and depth. So as an extrovert, you have breadth. You have expanded network to really make connections and find that fulfillment and the energy that you pull from all that experiences. So large group activities and team collaborations, external validations, social recognition. These are the things that really fulfill or pour into the cup of an extrovert. And pouring into the cup of an introvert is finding really intimate, deep, meaningful connections that are fewer but have greater meaning to them. So quality over quantity, authenticity over superficialness. So here's a moment where you can think, as a leader, how do you approach, let's just say, constructive criticism or praise? How do you approach a team member and really address some of these things? Thinking about their personality type, you can really reach somebody um, in a more intimate and deeper level by knowing their type and addressing them in a way that they'll receive it. So here's an example. Generic phrases, praise like "great job, team," might energize an extrovert feeling type, but leave an introvert type feeling completely unmoved. So this is why it's effective to effective motivation requires matching the feedback of the psychological blueprint. So knowing your team and the way that you approach a team, you do it independent to the person and not overall create a cookie cutter approach to it. So find your team and who they are and adjust them in a way that they'll receive it to the best. So here, finding the flow. Finding the flow is another way of identifying self-actualization. So by finding the flow, we say um, time will disappear, your challenge versus your skills will meet, and you'll feel your authentic self. And here we have some examples of them. Just to go over a couple of them, we have introverted thinker. They find their flow through logical system improvements. Example, INTP enters flow when given freedom to deeply analyze complex systems, identifying logic inconsistencies, things like that. And then we have an extroverted feeler. Their flow trigger might be harmonizing, uplifting their community. And in ENFJ reaches flow when facilitating group cohesion, mentoring others toward growth, and creating emotional resonance in the immediate environment. These are the type of things that people can find self-actualization or their flow. Here's a reflection activity. Think of a time you completely lost track of what you were doing, something that you were doing that you loved. What were you doing at that time? Were you building something? Were you organizing something? Were you connecting with or impacting people? What was it that you were doing? So in this moment, you'll identify your flow state and how it's personalized to you, and that is a moment you felt fulfilled or your self-actualization. So it reveals where your dominant function, your psychological superpower comes from. So when you identify who you are and where these experiences happen, you identify what really motivates you, what where you find your flow, where you find your self actualization from. And this is why Myers-Briggs type indicator is important, because everybody's path to get here is different. Motivation as a map. Key takeaways. So there's a paradigm shift. Understanding personality types transforms Maslow's one-size-fits-all pyramid into a personalized motivation roadmap. Here we have one for leadership and educators. Stop asking what motivates people and start asking what motivates this person. So again, back to the specifics of one individual. Look and focus on them, on what how they receive information, or personalize it to them. For self-discovery, um, you know, just simply climb, look at what side of the pyramid that you're climbing on. And critical caveats, uh, treat the framework as a conceptual tool for understanding, not as a definitive predictive measure. So use Myers-Briggs carefully. It is not a be all kind of answer. So the ultimate integration, Maslow provides the universal what, and Myers-Briggs type indicator provides the individual how and when the personalized priorities. Together, they offer a more complete, nuanced, and actionable understanding of human motivation than either could alone. The pyramid isn't wrong, it's just incomplete. Everybody's personal path is going to be different, and it's important that you drive your success through your own personalized path and find your self actualization and fulfillment in the way you can. So thank you so much. For further exploration, explore your own Myers-Briggs type indicator through official assessments, read Maslow's original 1943 paper, investigate Kendrick et al.'s 2010 comparative renovation of the hierarchy, consider the interplay between personal, cultural, and motivations. My name is Justin Serrano, and thank you so much for joining me.